to Wellness Wednesdays with Stephanie. My name is Stephanie Buckland. I'm your host, and I am so excited and delighted to be interviewing my friend and colleague Julie Dale today. Thank you so much for being here, Julie.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to dive into this conversation. I think what's so amazing about your journey, and I mean, you're going to share, I'm so excited, is the transition. So we're going to talk so much about that. I'm so delighted because that's something I'm very, very passionate about. I think that healthcare needs kind of an overhaul.
Hmm.
So uh, we can totally talk about that as well. But I would love for you to share who you are, what you're up to in the world, and what kind of magic shows up as a result.
Okay. Well, thank you. So, again, my name is Julie, and I have been a licensed physical therapist in the state of Arizona for many, many years, over 25 years. Um, and the reason I'm so happy you asked me to come on to your podcast is I really believe in your movement with regards to shifting the way we look at healthcare. Um, but as far as my background goes and my shifting and all those types of things, I I went to school to I wanted to go to college, and the main reason is kind of funny is I wanted to play basketball. I didn't really care what I was going to major in. I really wasn't interested, and I picked the easiest thing, which was physical education. So like gym teacher, right? And so I went through, I got my physical education degree, but I took a different track. I decided about halfway through, as I was trying to finally figuring out I should get serious about school, that I didn't want to teach. I said, no, I don't want to do that. And so I had a track called human performance, which is basically exercise physiology. And so
Mhm.
I took that track instead and kind of focused more on, which kind of was really interesting to me. I was very interested in um, exercise and calories and weight loss and fitness and that sort of thing. And this is back in the 80s to age myself. And so there wasn't a whole lot of information out there. You had to go to the library to get it. You had to look things up differently. But I was very interested in it. But I didn't know what to do with it. So I got my degree, and here I had a degree, physical education, exercise science. What do I do? Well, I could go work in a gym, I guess. I didn't know what to do. I was a little bit confused. And so my next thought was, well, what else is there? And my mom was a physical therapist, actually.
Hmm.
And she was a physical therapist a very, very long time ago when it was almost considered um, like an aid, like you'd be kind of aiding the nurses in the hospitals and helping people walk and that sort of thing. It was very hospital based back then,
Right.
and so I was like, well, my mom's a physical therapist. That sounds kind of interesting, but I don't know. So I looked into it, and at first I thought, oh my, it's really hard to get into. That was my first thought, and I thought, I don't know if I have the grades, I don't know if I have the right classes, all of these things. But I went ahead and forged forward and decided I would try to become a physical therapy assistant, which is a two year degree. I thought I could do that. And then I looked into that, and I went to the first class, and I thought, no, I can be a physical therapist. I don't want to be a physical therapist assistant. I said, that's it. So I did all the research, I did everything I needed to, and finally got into school and spent the next 4 years pursuing my physical therapy degree and got a master's degree in that. Started working immediately, and had moved by that time, had moved from where I got my degree in Kansas City, Missouri, and had transitioned out to Arizona because my parents had retired out here. So I thought, oh, that's a nice place to live after visiting it in December. I thought I'm going to live there. So that's kind of the beginning of my physical therapy career, I would say. And I followed the rules. Like I get my license, I kept up with all the classes, I did all the things you do, right? And the first few years, and this is me knowing this now in my current self, I could feel myself not enjoying the atmosphere of being inside and having to take doctor's orders and following all these instructions and doing what everybody else was doing and climbing on the bandwagon, and this is how you treat this and this is how you treat that and this is how we do it. And so I could feel that in myself, but at my it was my 20s, and I just was like, I got to do this because this is what we're doing. This is how you do physical therapy. This is what we do. And I just went along for the ride, and I kept going, and I every once in a while I'd look out the window and go, "Oh, it's so nice outside. I wish I could be outside." I just felt so enslaved,
Um,
And so, but I just kept at it, and I eventually transitioned into home care. Home care was something I'd wanted to do after I did an internship with one of my supervisors at an outpatient clinic. She would go on her lunch break and see home health patients, and I thought, this is it. I like this. I like working with people in their homes. This is what I'm going to do. It's not something you want to do right out of school, but it was something that I knew I wanted to do. So I eventually made the leap, and I left. I quit my very stable outpatient salaried everything position, and I took a contracted home health, and I've been doing that ever since, where I just see home health clients per diem, per visit. I don't I'm my own boss, which is kind of nice,
for sure.
but it also leaves me in a kind of a vulnerable position because it's not salaried. It's not, I'm not dependent on that at all. But okay, so now we're going to fast forward. So I've been doing that for many, many years. About 5 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago, and this is probably right before the whole COVID situation, I was I was probably coming to a point in my life where I was like, I just cannot handle much more of the do this, do that. This is a form you fill out. Here are the other forms you fill out. And if it comes upon this date, you have to fill this form out. And if we've gone past this date, and we want to make sure, and the insurance companies are just regulating it all, right? This is,
Oh,
if we
I
don't
know
do it
they're
this way, we're
ridiculous.
not paying. We're not paying.
Right.
And if you don't know a whole lot about home health, there's gigantic forms to fill out. It's just forms after forms after forms, and the first visit can take 3 hours in a patient's home, and it's just
Yeah.
very tiring and ridiculous. So I started thinking about, how can I just want to go see people. I just want to see them, work with them, and go home. I don't want all this, do this, do that. So I started considering, what would it be like for me to just be a private? How can I just do that? How can I just be private pay? How can I do that? And I started researching that, and I was like, well, it's still sort of, doctors need to tell you what to do, but I can
Yeah.
charge my own thing and that sort of thing. So then over the last few years, I thought, okay, I have all this experience. I have worked in every aspect of the physical therapy realm you can possibly do, hospitals and nursing homes and outpatient clinics and home health. I've done it all. Worked with all different types of people. I was like, I have the experience to just be who I am and work with people in their own, however they want. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I just need to forget about physical therapy, and I could just be a health coach, and I'll just work with them that way. So I sat with that for a while, and it wasn't really coming to me. I was like, oh, now I got to go learn how to be a health coach. I have to go take a certificate program, and I'm going to have to do this and do that. And I had to remind myself, I I already know all this. I don't need to go get some new certificate or whatever. I already know how to help people. I've been coaching them. I've been doing that for 25 years. I've already done it. So that is what brings me to, I would say, closer to today, is I don't have to really sell myself in that, um oh, here's all the certificates I have, and here's all the classes I've done, and here's all this, and here's all that. You can just come to me, and you can tell me what your issue is, and we can work on it together, and you'll know just by working with me that I will listen, and I will lead you in the right direction, or help you lead yourself in the right direction, whether that be from a health coaching perspective, or if that's also including, you need some recovery information or some ideas about how to fix this or fix that from a physical therapy standpoint. I want them to mesh together, not necessarily using one or the other, just meshing them together and just being who I am, as just I'm having a hard time coming up with some new title for myself, but a lot of times when I'll maybe put a post in some group that's asking for, what do you do? What do you do? And I'll just throw my website in there, and then I'll say, I'm a seasoned physical therapist, and I also do health coaching. And I just leave it at that. I'm like, that's where I'm at, and see what people come of that. So
Nice.
that is my background nutshell, from work and career perspective. And that's why I'm so excited about what you're doing, because it fits very nicely with where I'm going. And it's so nice because I don't feel like, okay, here's where all the physical therapists are, and here's over here's where all the where's all the massage therapists are, and over here is where we have people that work with crystals, and over here is where we have a chiropractor. Everything can work together as one.
Mhm.
And yeah, I might be the expert to help you. Maybe your elbow's hurting or whatever, and I might be able to help you with that, but I can also see that you need to go also work with so and so, or maybe I can lead you in some other direction if as needed. So anyway.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's the coolest part about watching everything develop the way it has because yeah, and we can talk offline more about that, but I am a wellness advocate, like everything wellness. I want more mind, body, spirit stuff available to the public, and I want more conversations about longevity and biohacking and optimal wellness because I do think it's possible for humans to achieve optimal wellness. I think that it's kind of sad that we're in a country that is like, what is it, 60th percentile as far as healthcare. We're not doing great in the United States as far as healthcare. And so breaking the traditions and moving through something better, something different, something maybe more well thought out that can be more cohesive and collaborative and, actually heal people.
Mhm.
Because that's the thing. It's like I've watched Western medicine not heal people, they just kind of maintain people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I watch holistic and quantum therapists, and they're actually healing people. And I'm like, well, what the heck, guys? How come we're not working together?
Right.
Because,
Right. Right.
I mean, if you've got a doc who's doing some kind of treatment for chronic pain or chronic illness, and then there's this naturopath over here that's healing that, then why couldn't that doc refer them to the naturopath? Like, I've exhausted all of my things. I can't really help you anymore. Let's send you over here. Why not?
Yeah.
There's this disconnect. It's so weird. So that is my goal. I want to break those disconnects. I want to see more collaboration in all of it. And I think it's beautiful that you're kind of on that same path.
Mhm.
I would love to hear a little more about your experience with traditional medicine. I know that, with the challenges, specifically, the challenges that you had being in traditional medicine and that difficulty because it's so sticky.
Yeah. I think I a story that comes just real recently actually was I think it's a lot of some of the challenge. Well, I've mentioned some of the challenges I've had, but um, it seems to me that because of money, because of insurance companies not wanting to pay, and they're trying their hardest to figure out a way to not pay. And
Mhm.
so that then what you have is you have the let's just say a home health agency or whatever agency is doing work for patients. Then what's happening is they're working so hard on the backside to figure out making sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted and everybody has all their ducks in a row. That's what they're focusing on so that the payments come in
Right.
versus just taking care of clientele and letting it and letting it flow better.
Yeah.
So that's one of my challenges is just I sat sometimes in meetings just thinking of the ridiculousness of it all, having meeting after meeting after meeting about how we weren't a, whatever it was, we weren't maybe 90% of the time our patients weren't able to get out of bed the right way or something. And I was just like, how like how are you putting this on paper, like because of some
Right.
form that was filled out incorrectly, like at the beginning of the let's just say they had 8 visits. At day 1 they were marked at a 4, which meant they couldn't get out of bed. And at day 9, they were still marked at a 4, and someone just didn't mark it right. It should have been marked at a 3, right? So we have these meetings about how we're marking it wrong, and it just
Oh my
was
God.
boggling. That's right there as one idea, an example. And as far as I think doctors go, I feel a little bad for the doctors that are kind of going into it now, or whatever, because a lot of it is, what's your problem? What are your symptoms? Okay, let me go see what we can give you to band-aid that. What can we, that's their thinking. That is, yes, they're going to assess you and push on your stomach and take your blood pressure, and they're going to do all those things. But what they want to do is, oh, you have problem with reflux? Okay, here, take this. See you in 2
Mhm.
weeks. Oh, you have oh, I see that you had a swollen ankle. Here, take this Advil. I mean, some normal stuff, do this, put it on, put it up. See you in 2 weeks. Not, I wonder why you're having reflux. I wonder what's going on with that. Like, why are you suffering from that? Here's
Exactly.
something to help in the meanwhile, but let's really try to figure out why you're doing this. What's your, like, let's get into more of, and I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. I didn't do any of that stuff, but I've researched myself and I've learned myself, um, to at least ask, somebody, why is your stomach always bothering you? Let's not, here, take this, take that. And that's what doctors are
Yeah.
trained to do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just like a physical therapist. We are trained. You do this for this, you do this for this, you do this for this. Here's the modalities for that and this and this. And you mark it down and you make sure you do 15 minutes at a time, because that's how we charge. And it's, it's almost like I am a robot. I will
Right. You're
put
not
this at
taught to
you.
think outside the box or to
Right,
think about new ideas or
right.
ways to do something.
Yep.
It's I think in some ways, some things that need to shift are actually in the medical schools. Like there's a disconnect between the patient and their symptoms. And what about the
Hmm.
human that's involved
Right.
in that? You know,
Yep.
like, can we start addressing people as humans and look at
Right.
their human problems and try to find solutions for those problems, not
Right.
band-aids. You
Yeah.
know, like it doesn't seem that like
Nope.
outside of the realm of possibility. It almost seems ridiculous that we're not even considering this. And yet there are places that are. I'm seeing more and more integrative health centers, doctors who have health coaches inside of their facility. I mean, it is shifting very slowly,
Yeah.
and it seems in small pockets right now. You know, it's not fast enough, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not fast enough. But you know what? I'm experiencing chronic pain, and those docs have never given me a solution. So I'm at a point where I understand, even on my own personal level, what you're saying about this bureaucracy and the way that they do their business and
Yeah.
how like disconnected it is, because it really is. So I would love to talk about mind, body, and spirit. And I mean, we're a whole person.
Mm.
We're a whole person. You cannot disconnect the mind from the body. You can't disconnect the spirit from the body. It's like there's a a disconnect between the concepts. And if you have issues with your mind, you go see a psychologist. If you have if issues with your body, you go see a doctor. If you have issues with your spirit, you go see a religious leader, or a shrink, or not a shrink, a psychic, or maybe an energy healer. There's remedies for things, but we're not really as cohesive
Right.
as it should be.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, when you're in session with your clients, do you talk about these things? Is that part of your practice?
You know, I do. I have more in the last 5 years than I did initially, because when I was first as a physical therapist, I was just like, okay, here's your exercises. Here's how you do your exercises. Here's this, here's that. And of course, I asked about how they were doing and how their pain was, and all the things you have to check mark, right?
Of course.
Um, but I have decided that that's all going out. That's all gone out the window for me. And I do talk to people, even in my traditional, job, which I still do work for a company, and I still go out and I do all their paperwork and I do all that stuff. But I've just decided to take it upon myself to get a little deeper with people, and and also to put more ownership on themselves, because a lot of people
Mm,
are wanting you to fix them, and how many
right.
times can you come and fix me? And they'll tell me over and over again, they'll say, oh, towards the end, oh, you've helped me so much, I really appreciate you helping me with my knee or whatever it is. And I'll turn around and I'll tell them, thank you, but if you didn't do the work, me coming out twice a week isn't going to do it. But by you taking ownership, so I trying to tell people that I think people are realizing that they have the power within themselves to fix themselves. If you want to say fix, I would say more
Sure.
of um,
Heal.
heal themselves, or
Yeah.
um, continue to evolve, or whatever you want to say. And when you were talking about the like the let's say like we have a drum circle person, and we have like what all these different people that do all these awesome things, and I think the public sometimes thinks, oh, I need to go to that to learn how to like that. Like I need to go learn how to like the drum circle, or I need how to go learn how to draw a picture or something. When no, you can just start doing it, and you can see if you like it, and take it upon yourself to see if you like these different modalities, I
Yeah.
guess I'll call them. Like you don't need a doctor's order to go see a massage therapist. You can go do that yourself, and they will say what's going on, and they'll help you. The good ones will really take a good history and really work with you. Same thing with the I would say more mind or spirit related modalities, like crystal reading and psychic readings, and oh, what else, like drum circle sound healing, sound bath
Mhm.
healing. I love that. And it really does dig deep into your nervous system. You can just feel it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that type of thing I think people don't think about. They're like, oh, that's woo woo and doesn't help me. And okay, maybe this one doesn't, but maybe this one might. And if you don't
Right.
try, you don't give it a good go, how are you going to know? And so I
Exactly.
think people are realizing that on their own, and I think that's why you're seeing the things change a little bit, is because I think with all the information out there, people are realizing, hey, I want a more overall approach to my life. I don't want to go to this doctor for my heart, and this doctor for my stomach, and this doctor for my brain, and this doctor. It's like all these different specialties. You're like, they never can get it done. There's just, I have to go. If I see patients and as a physical therapist, and they're like, well, I have to go see the cardiologist on Wednesday, and then I have to go see the neurologist on Friday, and then I have to go see my regular doctor on Saturday, and then it's like, I'm like, woo. Isn't there just one person who could maybe handle a bunch of that?
Right. Oh, I wish. Yeah.
And to me, traditional medicine is very important, and especially for trauma. Like you get in a car accident, I want a good doctor at the emergency room.
Oh,
Like that.
yeah.
There's a time and a place, but a lot of stuff is just band aid, band aid, band aid for stuff that could get addressed and fixed. At
Yeah.
least betterment
Exactly.
word.
Yes. And you brought up self-responsibility, which is something I've been screaming from the rooftops for about a decade now, that if you start to take responsibility for yourself, for your own healing, that is one of the most powerful things you can do in your healing process, because we are innate healers. Our bodies are made to create homeostasis. But the problem is we continue to put toxins in, we eat junk food, we breathe in toxins, we drink toxins, we're bringing in all this crap that the body doesn't know what to do with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, I could put it in a fat cell. I might be able to eliminate it, but I don't know. It might end up in a nerve or a muscle because I don't know
Right,
what to do with this thing, right?
right,
So the body will adapt to create homeostasis, but that's not homeostasis.
right.
That's adaptation. And so true homeostasis is that practice of mind body spirit. It's recognizing you're a whole person, and that you need things for your mind, you need things for your body, you need things for your spirit. There's practices, there's nutrition quality, bringing in whole real food in your body. drinking healthy, clear, filtered water that's not full of chemicals. All of these things are relevant
Right.
to our healing holistically. And it all starts with yourself and recognizing,
Hmm.
maybe that pattern of going to get ice cream every Friday is not a good pattern and I shouldn't be
Right.
doing that.
Right.
And oh, yeah, I get a tummy ache after. Maybe I shouldn't even be consuming dairy.
Right.
Like it's asking questions like that
Yep.
and realizing like I can change.
Yep.
I can choose a different way. And I think that's really where responsibility comes into play. It's realizing our choices,
Yeah.
that we have choices.
Yep.
So, I mean, you made a tremendous choice to move into health coaching from traditional medicine is huge.
Yeah.
And the concept of being a coach for someone. I stood up and said, you know what? I think every single person on this planet could use a coach
Yeah.
because we're all having challenges and we could all use somebody to talk to about
Right.
those challenges.
Right. Right.
So I think that's important. I think that the work that you're doing is so valuable. So how can people work with you? How do they reach you?
So I I have a website, and it's juliedalenow.com, and it's a fairly new website. I never had a website before. And it's just this past spring I really kind of dug in and I asked for some help and I got it going. And so it's still kind of in the works, but that's a place to go to kind of read a little bit more about my background and stuff like that and kind of what I do. It's not set in stone because I really don't think I have a set in stone, what I would say, program.
Mhm.
Um, I would say it's more of a customized approach with people. Um,
Nice.
and so that's why I would encourage people just to reach out and ask, especially if you understand what physical therapy is and if that's something you're looking for, and or for a family member, because a lot of my what I do is with geriatrics, so older
Mhm.
people. But I would love to work with whoever. But that's one way to find me. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram. um, I would say it's my pin page will tell you a lot about me on my Facebook, and
Okay.
let's see, it's julie.dale numbers, julie.dale.9655806.
Okay, cool. And we'll share
But I
that
think
link
if
in
you
the
just do
description too.
Julie, yeah, I think if you just put Julie Dale, you'll find me. I don't think there's
Yes,
a whole lot of us,
absolutely.
but yeah, my website is juliedalenow.com, and yeah, that's the best probably way to reach me. And primarily, I work privately, so I don't take insurance. I also don't provide like super bills or anything like that. I just decided I don't want to have anything to do with any insurance at all, and so
Yeah,
my
I
stuff
don't
is
blame you.
private. Yeah, and so I have all different types of ways people can work with me. It's from one big consultation visit to if you want a package to if you want just a few times. I have a few ways of doing things. Um,
Awesome.
so yeah,
Wonderful. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to cover today?
I don't think so. I think I'm just excited about my ongoing journey into this new realm, and um, looking to make connections and continue the work. So
Wonderful. Okay. Well, and then my last question that I always ask my guests is, how about a little piece of inspiration? Something wellness, something optimal healing?
okay. So inspiration, I would say, and I'll do this because just from a my own experience, making sure that when you are wanting to do something, that when something sparks your interest and it really makes you excited. For example, um, let's just say you want to run a marathon. Let's just say, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to run a marathon. Well, you don't just run a marathon, right? You have to
Mm.
start by running a mile, and then so remember to keep your inspiration, your why in front of you at all times, whether that be a poster, whether that be a sticky note, whether you make a bracelet, no matter, put it in your car. because to me, seeing something helps you remember why. And a lot of people, the excitement wears off, right? He's like,
It
yeah, I'm going to
does.
run a marathon. I'm going to run a marathon next year. And the first couple, it's like a New Year's resolution, right?
All right.
You start, and then about 2, 3 months in, it's gone, poof. So just remember to keep them things where you can see them. Keep visualizations. I think that's a good one. Like I have things on my calendar to remind me of things. Like I write everything down, whether
I
it's
do too.
whether it's like today, like I've got the podcast, and then after that I've got to go pick up my daughter, and then after that I've got to go do this. It's all written down because it helps me remember. So
Right.
same thing with
Right. Yeah,
anything we're gonna do.
I have a bulletin board in front of me that has positive words and thoughts, and it keeps me focused on what
Yeah,
I'm creating in
yeah,
the world. Yeah.
yep.
And
I have the I
it
have a thing. I
works.
have a thing. I'll read it to you. This can be kind of our final thing. I don't know where I got this from, so I apologize to whoever's quote this was, but it says it's about expectations, and it says expectations are active participants of my life. I'm not merely an observer. I am a co-creator, shaping it with every thought, every expectation that emanates from the depth of my being. Reminder: I am an authority to someone on this health and wellness journey. I own this position. So you can make something like that up and be like, I'm gonna run a marathon. Just keep it up there, and every time you look at it, it'll bring that spark back.
Beautiful. Thank you, Julie. That was so
Welcome.
great.
It was nice to talk to you and see you again.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
I look forward to the next thing because I'm planning to come, whatever it is, or attend.
Excellent.
I forget whatever it is. I have them written down in my calendar, so I'll plan to see you there.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay.